With the iPhone 16 on its way, it's better late than never for a final overview on the iPhone 15 Pro. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well. Today we got ourselves the final iPhone 15 Pro review. Before any of you say it, yes, I am back and just in time for the new iPhone release. But will I get it? We'll have to wait and see. So I feel like year over year, the software experience and the camera quality doesn't get the biggest incremental difference. The action button was one of the new features this year. And the real question is, was it a gimmick or was it a feature? But more times than ever, I find myself hitting the action button and letting the iPhone do the rest. Any addition to a phone that makes your life a bit easier will always be a solid feature rather than a gimmick. Now, I will say that I went through a few changes with the action buttons throughout the year. At the start of the cycle, I assigned it to open an app, such as either the Twitter app, the music app, the calculator app, and or the Kindle app. For the longest time, I stuck with the Kindle app as the action button function, as I started picking up reading a lot more and found myself reading throughout the day. I will say that I dropped this as I ended up getting a Kindle, since staring at a phone for a long time is not really a good idea and causes eye strain. Once I got a Kindle, I decided to make a shortcut to activate some smart products at home. The main action I used it for is to turn on my smart lights once I enter my room. This is only good for a while. When I go out, it's completely useless as it's only functional at my home. After that, I decided to change it to my camera app, as I would be able to take a quick photo when I needed it. There are many moments where I needed the quick button press so that I can get the shot. Now I know that there is a camera button on the main lock screen, but I found that during the moments where I needed the most, it decides not to open, which is always the split moment between me getting the shot or missing it. For example, this photo of this Porsche I got in London were one of those moments where if I didn't have the camera app set to the action button, it would have never happened. The action button is a work in progress, but I'm finding different ways to use the action button. If you guys have any cool ways you program the action button, let me know. I'm always up for ideas. Regarding the camera, I will say that the quality has been pretty decent since last year's iPhone. Perhaps it was the switch to the 48 megapixel sensor from the previous gen's 12 megapixel sensor. Now, I will say that the camera app is the only limiting factor that gets in the way of the equipment. But don't get me wrong, when it comes to image quality, sharpness, and color, this iPhone is amazing. The only thing is there's not really a big difference when it comes to uploading photos onto social media apps. And I know that it's not the iPhone's fault, it's mostly, the processing and how you see the photo on the app. But overall, the photo and video quality exceeded my expectations. I feel that when people compliment the photos or videos that I take, it makes me question if it's me or the camera. But when it comes to the camera or video quality of the iPhone, 80% of the time it's the iPhone, and 20% of the time it's my ability to press the action button, followed by holding up the iPhone at the right time and clicking the photo. Let's move on to battery life. Now, obviously it depends. Some days I'll be using my phone a lot, and other days it'll just be on idle the whole day. Now, this year I found myself depleting the battery quite a bit. Now, this is because I went on quite a few international trips this year. Typically on trips, you find yourself using the camera app for photo and video, which takes a lot of battery. This paired with using apps such as Maps for navigation, or just going through your social media apps, be it browsing through or updating your story. Charging my phone was an experience though. It was hard to find an outlet half the times, and you need the right outlet adapter to use your phone. On most days, I would wake up at 8 a.m. and start the day at 100, and then go all the way to 5 or 6 with 15 to 20% battery left. Now, this is good because that's a good 9-10 hours of solid battery life. But let's run it back and say we have a day where we start at 8 a.m. again, but we have to use the camera app quite a bit, navigation, and other apps. 5 or 6 p.m. is more looking like 2 p.m. where you would hit like that 20% battery threshold. And that was tough some days because there's a lot of times where there's no outlet available, or, my battery pack is dead. But again, going on trips like that are special cases and are expected since you're out all day on your phone. Try to capture the moments and, navigating, try not to get lost. That being said, I am back and less reliant on my phone, so it's looking like 10 or 11 hours of usage. If we go to the settings and then go into battery and check battery health, we do see that the battery health is normal and the maximum capacity is 91%. with a cycle count of 394. This makes sense since I found myself charging the battery at least 2 times a day during my trips, which is why the battery cycle may be high. Although this may seem crazy for the first year, it makes sense since I went on 2 big international trips, so I found myself using my phone a lot. Now moving on to something that's also important for a lot of people since they keep their phone for a long time, and that's durability. Durability is always something that's on people's minds since they want to know if their phones will last the test of time. As most of you know, I do not rock a case, but at the start of the cycle, I did rock the new woven case. Now the bombardment of, oh my goodness, why don't you have a case on it? Or aren't you scared that once you drop it, it'll shatter in a million pieces? Kind of baffles me. Now what I mean by baffle, I completely understand the sentiment since it is a really expensive phone. I always want to rock the phone without a case and never did it till this phone. Actually, I did rock the iPhone 6 back in the day without a case, but absolutely destroyed the phone since it had rounded edges and was really slim and slippery. The reason I was always confident with this phone is due to the square edges and it being super easy to hold. There was no way I was dropping this phone. Spoiler alert, I've dropped this phone like many times. That being said, there are deep scratches on the screen, like on the Face ID sensor and on the top right of the screen. But honestly, Face ID works perfectly, but to be honest, personally, I couldn't care less. I would recommend applying a screen protector as it would avoid any scratches that would be an annoyance aesthetically. All things considered, the natural titanium did hold up on some pretty nasty drops, and the screen did a good job. Another thing that I wanted to go over is storage. Now at the start of the year, I decided to get the base model of 128 gigs, and I do take a lot of high-res photo and 4K video. If we go to the iPhone storage settings, we do see here that I've used 106 gigs. Now I will say that I do have the highest package of Apple One, which gives me 2 terabytes of iCloud storage. But if you don't have iCloud, I would recommend going up to the 256 gigabyte model if you do take a lot of high-res photos or 4K video. If you don't and you're really conservative with your photo, video, and the applications that you use, then the 128 base model should be fine. Now the new iPhones are set to release tomorrow, but if you are watching this after the release date, then it's already out. That being said, the iPhone 15 Pro is a phenomenal device. And if you're coming from the iPhone 15 itself, then it's probably not worth it to switch up to the 16 because it's not really a big difference. If you are coming from the 11, 12, or even the 13, I would consider the 16 since it's going to be the same price as the iPhone 15 at launch, and you're going to get a bunch of new features, including all the features that come from the iPhone 15. All in all, you couldn't go wrong with either phone. Now the 16 Pro is coming out, it's a new phone, but think of it more as an S upgrade than a bigger update. And for all those people who still have an older iPhone and have been waiting to upgrade, if you're not doing upgrade now, what's another year? And with that, we close the chapter on the iPhone 15 Pro. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please hit that like button and also subscribe. Take care and till next time. Peace. Higher than helium, endo, need that crescendo, smoking on that endo, watching Trigon, made it like I'm Taiwan, got a war like Saigon, we keeping it real, no projector, bust like Vector, then reload.